Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what are the sources of electrical energy? Basically, when how we generate electrical energy, first of all, we cannot generate directly. We just convert from one energy to another energy. So for that, we use coal, water, fuel such as gas, oil, all these things. So chemical energy from coal, from fuels, and from water, that's static energy, because in the hydel power plant we store the water and then we let it flow from a higher level to lower level, so that potential energy will be used. And then natural rise and fall of ocean tides, which I'm saying, so this is also like sort of potential energy. And then heat within earth, so it's a heat energy. Then sun heat, sunlight, wind energy, so all this energy we convert into electrical energy. Okay, so based on the available sources, we can classify that electrical energy into two parts, as you can see here. One is the renewable energy sources, such as wind power, hydropower, I mean, where you use the ape tides, the ocean waves, then solar power, geothermal, biomass. These are all renewable, because you don't, once you consume it, it will be again, I mean, supplied to you just by nature, like wind, like hydropower, like through sun, huh? So this is how, that is why they are called renewable energy sources. And non-renewable, among that you have oil, so where you use the gas turbine plant, there we use this oil. Or we mostly we use coal, so thermal power plant is more common. So I'll spend more time on the thermal power station. We'll discuss different part of it and what are the advantage and disadvantage. Next is okay, there I missed out the Hydel power plant. This is the second, I mean, popular among the non-renewable energy. So Hydel power plant will fall under the renewable part, because you can always use that water, because you will get it from river, right? So it will be falling under green energy, I mean renewable energy. So that I missed out here. And then in non-refundable we have nuclear power plant, which is taking less area, and it is it has more efficiency, but practically we do not go for it, because you have to use a lot of costly instruments, and it will be very much vulnerable to the uh, your ecosystem. So that's why we think twice to go for nuclear power plant. And then you have natural gas and oil. These are actually used as the gas turbine power plant. So this is also not very popular, but for the small plant we can go for this oil and natural gas. We'll discuss one by one. So what is the most popular? As I told, that thermal power plant is the most popular. So what do we do there? We use coal, right? And we burn coal, and with that we boil water, and from there we generate steam, and with the help of steam we rotate the turbine, and turbine will be connected with the alternator or the generator. And in generator, what happens? In generator you have the magnetic field within which the I mean your the wire will be rotated, so that there will be flux cutting. And for that the electrical energy will be produced. So that is a alternating current. I think you have a little bit of background in generator, right? What is
Yes,
there?
sir.
Do you know about armature? You know about poles, all those things? You have a bit idea, right? In your
Yes.
10 plus 2
Yes.
level you have covered,
Yes, sir.
right?
It is.
So okay, there is an alternator, but here what happens now, your armature will be there will be stator and rotor, we call it. Then in case of this highly I mean higher rating alternator will be having the stator, and in rotor there will be the magnet. Okay, so there will be the electromagnet which will be rotating, and in the stator coil the electricity will be generated. So it's the other way around, because it will be very difficult to rotate the armature, where usually this you have read in your 10 plus 2 level, your armature is rotating and there only your through slip ring you are getting the electrical current. So it's not like that in case of the power station, because it is difficult to take out the to acquire the electrical power from that. So that's why we always prefer rotor as a magnet, and in stator we have the coil through which the electrical energy will be produced. Okay, so let us now this is a rough, like very schematic diagram. Let us go little bit deep of it. So this is a more detailed circuit. So what happens, we use coal. So there will be coal storage. Usually there will be wagon through which, through rail, the coal will be supplied to the station, power station. And then there will be the coal handling plant. It's having a big circuit, so it's shown only with the help of one block, but there a lot of task is carried out. First there will be wagon tripler, with which the whole wagon will be to unload the coal. The wagon will be uh, it's toppled down through with wagon tripler. So just empty the content of the wagon in the cold storage, and from there you take through conveyor belt that coal, and then you sieve it so that you can classify which is the good part of the coal, which is well combustible, which is not. So you handle that and then take out that particular coal. There will be like siever kind of thing through which it will be passed, and then the good quality of coal will be sent to pulverizer. Pulverizer means there will be the steel ball within a big wheel, so they'll be moving, and there you just feed in the small part of coal, and then you get a fine powder of the coal. Okay, so that fine it is made a fine powder so that it can be well combustible. It burn fast, and it will be easier for us to generate the heat with that. So that coal is sent, and then we have the forced draught fan. You can see this fan will be just sucking in the air from the atmosphere, and then there will be a air preheater which will be heated through the through the water which will be coming out from the turbine, water or steam. With that heat will be reutilized to preheat the air for the sake of well combustion. So then that hot air will be sent in the boiler, where in the furnace you burn it. So when you burn the coal, then the heat energy will be, there will be turbine cycle for this. So we have a steam in a high pressure and high temperature. So there are a lot of details which in the mechanical engineering will be, you will be taught maybe in the third semester, I guess. So there you will be getting more details of that, how you can, what is the heat cycle, how you can get the energy from it. All the details will be there. So from that you generate the heat energy, and with the help of that heat energy you boil the water. So there will be two kind of boiler, furnace, and in the furnace once you can have a pipe where through which this coal and air mixture will be passed. This is one way of one approach. And other approach is, it will be in the furnace, it is and the water will be there, and you are passing the mixture through the pipe. This is one approach. Another is, in through furnace you are sending through pipe the water which will be get heated when it pass through the furnace. So that is a more common approach, where through pipe you send the feed water. Okay, so once it get burned, once the coal get burned, there will be the flue gas. This is the flue gas, actually it is coming out from the boiler. So flue gas do some other task which will be used in superheater to heat more the steam, so that it have a more energy. And then once they carry out this work, then it is sent through economizer and then air preheater. As I told, that whenever you suck in the air from the atmosphere, that will be again heated in the air preheater through this flue gas, because it is having a heat still, and we are trying to extract the least amount of it. So that will be sent here, and from here there will be induced draft fan, which will be like sucking in, so that towards its direction, so that it can be discharged through chimney. So this is one circuit. Another circuit is the ash which is produced, so that will be sent through ash handling plant. So there what we do in ash handling plant, there will be electrostatic precipitator in the where the with the airflow the ash will be sent to that part, and because of the high static electricity, the ash will be deposited and that will be sent to ash storage, and that will be sent for preparing bricks and lot of other things. So it will be utilized again. So it is in the ash storage plant it will be sent to it. So this is one circuit, and this is the other circuit, that is all of coal and air circuit. So this is that part actually. From here, this is the coal, and coal byproduct is ash. So in this part, and then hot air, this is the flue gas which will be used in the superheater, and from the boiler you get steam from here. So that steam is passed to the superheater and then through valve to turbine. So to get that heat of to use the heat of the flue gases, we use it in the superheater and then economizer and then air preheater, and then it is discharged through chimney. Okay, now let us come to the water part of it. So from river we take the feed water from the river, and then there will be water treatment chamber, and a lot of tasks. So we use some chemicals, and so that it doesn't corrode the pipes and the other instruments. So that kind of chemical handling happens here in the water treatment plant, and then it is passed through the feed water pump. So in the feed water is actually sending the water to the boiler. So that we do here. And then here it is the feed water heater. So for that also you see from here there is one more circuit for the flue gas. So it is used again in the feed water heater, so that you can heat a bit the water, and then that is again passed through it. It is not interconnected, it's just like there is one separate flow for the steam and this one is for water. So there will be no interconnection in between, it's just like a disjoint. And then that water is sent through economizer. In economizer, that flue gas again preheat the water, and then finally that water pipe will be sent to boiler, the furnace of the boiler, so that the steam is produced. So it is not very well written what is the water circuit and heat circuit, steam circuit. I am coming to that. There is one more figure for that. So you get the steam from here, and then that superheated steam through valve you send to turbine, and then from the turbine exhaust steam you send to condenser. And in condenser what happens, you reduce the pressure so that it can get converted into water. What happens if we what happened to the condensing temperature when we reduce the pressure? It will rise or fall. If we reduce the pressure, what happens of the steam? Say we have a steam. Sorry, it will be.
It will fall.
Fall in temperature.
So it will be reduced.
It will be converted into water only, na, at high temperature. You know, na, when if we I mean reduce the pressure, then what happens? The condensing temperature will go down. At high condensing temperature, it will change the state. So from steam to water, we'll get it here in the condenser, and then we send it through the cooling tower. In cooling tower, like the water will be sprinkling through the air, and then it is collected. So when it will be falling through the air, that heat exchange will happen. So it will get cooled, and then again we can reuse that water, so that we don't waste it, and some part of it will again discharge to river. Okay, so this is the water circuit. And then here in the turbine, what happens if a steam of high temperature and high pressure go and heat the turbine blade, then it will rotate, and then there only will be using that cycle, turbine cycle. For the mechanical engineers, they have to learn it, and then that energy will be again, it is joined with alternator. So in the alternator it is connected, so it is rotating. So with which part of the alternator will be connected with the turbine? It is only the rotor of the alternator, where you have the electromagnet. Okay, that will be joined with the turbine, and this is the rotor, which will be like there will be flux cutting with the stator, and then that will induce your electrical energy. So that electrical energy we send it to transformer, then isolator is the switch kind of thing, and then circuit breaker. Isolator, circuit breaker, always they'll work together, because if there is any higher rating, or if it is violating the limit, then the circuit breaker will trip the circuit, okay, and then through it will be sending to bus. So why do we use transformer here? Why do we use transformer? To step up the voltage, whatever we are getting. Say we are getting a 33 kV of voltage from the alternator, then we step up to say 100 kV, or 220, in that way. So why do we use that? Why do we step up the using step up transformer? So that it takes in transformer, what happens, the energy remains the same. If you say V into I is constant, if we use the voltage, if you rise the voltage, what will happen? I will be less, so I square drop in the transmission line will be less, right? So because of that, it is always recommended to transmit the electrical energy at a high voltage, because energy being same, if you rise the voltage, current will be less, and that is why drop I square R along the transmission line will be less. And you can see here we use RYB. Any idea what do we mean with the RYB? RYB is three phase,
Red, yellow,
which,
blue.
yes, right. It is three phase. So in many of mostly in industry we use it three phase, and it will be taught to you in subsequent chapters later. So this red, yellow, blue is actually it is a three phase system. And why do we go for it? Because it saves the less number of conductors are required, because if we take three separate, we should have a phase and neutral, so total six number of wires will be required. But whenever we have RYB, will having a, it will be economic in terms of uh, conductor. And you can have two set of voltage. One is line to line voltage, which will be higher, and line to phase, phase voltage, which is little lower. So if you have a three phase supply, even if you're in some of your house whole purpose also it is done. In my house itself it is there, red, yellow, blue. So one floor we can connect with one phase. So red phase first floor, then yellow phase second floor, in that way, so that it's a distributed. And whenever you use a more number higher number of electrical appliances, then it is better to do that, because otherwise it will be unnecessarily loaded in one particular phase. Okay, so that is why we do it, uh, this three phase thing. So this is a what I discussed. Actually, it is a more detailed diagram for the thermal power plant. So what I missed is here is the boiler drum. It does a particular job, because uh, it separate out between the hot water and the steam, because there will be always mixture of water and steam. So that is carried out here, and this red one is actually steam, and green is the water. Okay, so you can see here, this is your from the cooling tower you take that particular feed water, and then this is the heater, and then this actually we are getting from the blade stream, from the low pressure turbine blade. And from here we send it somewhere here 120 degrees centigrade, and then tea aerator is actually removing all the dissolved gases from the water, feed water. And then we start like sending through the heater, HP heater, because high pressure, because it is coming from the turbine outlet for the high pressure turbine part. Whenever we send the steam from reheater to turbine, we send it to the high pressure part. And once it uh, uh, change the heat energy to the mechanical energy, there will be the temperature drop in the steam because of the energy conversion. So that blade steam is used here, and then that ultimately sent to the economizer, which is there in the boiler part. And there also we use this steam. So through this we send this to the boiler drum where it is separated out that within the steam and water. So it does a significant task. I'm not going too detail of that. And then that particular steam again sent to the superheater which is there in the boiler, and then from superheater to the high pressure part of the turbine. Okay, and from that high pressure part it will again I mean once it there will be an energy transfer, then that energy will high pressure will be changed to intermediate pressure. So it will again through the reheater will be sent to the intermediate pressure part of the turbine blades, and finally through to the low pressure part. Okay, so this we are doing because we are carrying out three turbine cycles. In the mechanical engineers will read more of this. There will be three cycles, turbine cycle. We do this so that we can get the maximum efficiency, so that how much we can get it from there. To increase the efficiency, we carry out three cycles, and from that you will get a generator. Okay, and this part already I have discussed, so
Sir,
I'm
one
not going.
doubt.
Yes.
Sir, is this 3 cycle related to that 3 lines, red, yellow, blue?
No, 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 no,
No, not.
not at all. Not at all.
Achha.
Red, yellow, blue is connected only after the generated part. So this part is mechanical part. After you you go, whenever the shaft of the turbine is connected to the generator, then that your rotor part, which is having the electromagnet, that will be rotating, and in the stator part there will be flux cutting. So that conductors are placed in such a way that in three different you will getting a peak of that peak current or peak energy at 120-degree apart. So that is arranged in such a way that you get the maximum of it at 120-degree apart. So in that way it is wound. This is the stator part of the generator. Okay, and say if you take red as the reference, then yellow will be 120-degree phase difference between the peak of the red phase and the peak of the yellow phase, and then again 120-degree between yellow and blue. So R by B is related in this part. Okay, and here the steam pressure, if you note that in the mainstream the pressure is more than the reheated steam, it is much lesser, and then here it is not written, but it is very less actually in the low pressure turbine part. Okay, and this is the blade steam which is used in the low LP heater. So you don't need to go to details of that. Just for your better knowledge, I am discussing this. Only those who are from electrical department, they'll be learning this in detail, maybe in the fourth or fifth semester. I'm doubtful which semester, but you'll be reading, you'll be learning this in much more detail. Okay, so what are the advantages of thermal power plant? The fuel used is coal, which is quite cheaper than the other fuel, and initial cost is less compared to the other generating station like nuclear power plant, hydel power plant. Okay, it requires much less space compared to that of hydroelectric power station, because in hydroelectric power station you should have a big reservoir, right? Many of you, I think you have been to such dams just for a tour, so you might have seen. And whenever you will come back to campus, maybe sometime you can go to Durgapur barrage, you can have a idea. I mean, whenever we set up a barrage, how the things look, how much area is required actually. And it is a rapidly changing load without any difficulty. What happens now, whenever there will be load change, automatically you have to regulate the which I missed out actually to discuss in the previous part. In this there will be valve, right? Whenever we send the steam to turbine, that valve will be automatically regulated. How? Because whenever there will be a higher load, then what happens, there will be a tendency of the alternator to go, I mean the speed of the alternator may fall. Why? Because whenever you are draining more and more energy from it, then what happens, if you do not increase the steam flow, then it is not enough. That means the speed will fall down. So what happens, the frequency will drop. So whenever we I mean we are connected, we connect a power station with grid, the grid has some protocol, like grid always have to have a frequency of 50 hertz. Otherwise, the if we do not maintain it, then there will be I mean catastrophic consequences for the appliances and other part of it. So we cannot I mean there will be some small tolerance. If you exceed it, then you have to shut down your generation. So to avoid that, we have a automatic control of the valve, which will sense the I mean your rotation speed, and with based on the basis of that, you can regulate the valve, like you can send more steam or less steam, so that you can maintain a constant frequency. So if you use a thermal power plant, it is much easy to regulate that for rapidly changing load without any difficulty, which is very difficult for the hydroelectric power station. This thing may be useful when we it is not much difficulty when we go for, compared to hydel power plant. It is difficult. For other power plant, it is not that difficult. This particular point is the difference between the thermal and the hydel. And the disadvantage, it pollutes the atmosphere due to production of smoke and fumes, that you understand. Whenever you burn coal, then what happens? Carbon dioxide will be produced, so which is like polluting the atmosphere. Running cost is high. Huge water is required. If you do not, although most of the plant will be having the condenser, and then this part, I mean cooling tower and all those things, but still lot of water will be wasted. So you should always have a constant water source, so that you can generate. And it will having a very low efficiency, around 30% efficiency, although we try to extract more of it, but still there will be always a lower efficiency. So that is why although we have the shortcoming, but still if we look in the scenario of generating station scenario, we'll having more thermal power plant, because always we cannot have a barrage, and we do not have that yeah, I mean facility where you can go for the hydel power plant. And mostly in the hill area, it is easy to set up a hydel power station, compared to in India, most of the land falls on the plain land. So it is much better to go for a thermal power plant, provided there should be a water source, a river nearby. Huh? So that is why thermal power station are more popular. Next, we move towards the hydroelectric power plant, hydel power plant. So you can see here that here you have a dam, which is actually storing. You set up a dam and you just uh, block the flow of the river. So there will be a part of near around the banks of the river will be flooded definitely. Whenever you just uh, block the flow of the river, then that will create your water storage, right? And then there will be gate, which is actually allowing the water to flow. And that water flow, you see there will be a level difference between the dam and the generating station where the electricity is generated, right? You can see that. That's why hilly region is beneficial for setting up a hydel power plant, because you have to use the PE. So you discharge the water, and that water flowing, and then with that water flow, the turbine is rotating. And in the same way, we have a stator and the rotor, as I have discussed. And uh, there will be the electricity generated, and which will be stepped up, voltage will be leveled up, and then you start transmitting the electricity. Okay. And then this is the discharge again, which will be uh, connected to the track of the river. So this is how, and we can use these for irrigation and all other, many other things where we can use it. So this is called the catchment area, actually near to that. huh? So what are the advantage? It requires no fuel. Water is used for generation of electric energy. It is neat and clean energy generation, because it is not polluting environment. Construction is simple. Less maintenance is required, because there is not much equipment required for the thermal power plant. If you compare with in the hydel power plant, if you compare with the thermal power plant. And then what are the disadvantages of the hydro power plant? It involves high capital cost due to dam construction, because you need a wide area, you have to maintain the dam, the sluice gate through which you are just for that maintenance is more, through which you are discharging the water. Availability of the water depending on the weather condition, because through the year long you may not get the same water flow in the river. During summertime it goes down, and during that monsoon time it is better, because lot of water you get that time. So it is beneficial for the hydel power plant to to generate more. So there will be a more, it can generate a more power and contribute to the grid. It requires high transmission cost as the power plant is located in the hilly areas. Why I explained, because we want to use the P. So that is why hilly areas are more preferred, and from hilly area if we have to transmit the electricity, we need a more transmission cost. Gas turbine power plant, it is much more similar. Here we just, it's like your in the in our IC engine automobile sector, same like that. You, there is a fuel combustion, and with which you send it to turbine, and then turbine is rotated with the is connected with the your alternator, and then this is how you are generating. And gas turbine plant is advantageous only for the small power plant. It is having low maintenance because it is small, and since no condenser is used, it requires comparatively less water. Overall efficiency is much low, so that's why it is not very preferable approach, and it's not well studied also. We do not go for gas turbine power plant often. And then comes the nuclear power plant. Okay, so in nuclear power plant, as I told, that once it is set up, then we have to be very careful about the environment, because uh, there should not be any emission of the nuclear radioactive element to the atmosphere. Otherwise we can, yeah, with the control rod we generate heat, and then we use the water pump, and then we generate the steam, and with the steam we, the rest of the part is same like your steam power plant. Okay, but this controlling of the nuclear reactor is very difficult, and the equipments for the nuclear power plant is very high. So that's why although it is having high efficiency, it is its cost of the fuel transportation, storage, etc., it is small, but it is very much expensive, and it is difficult to recover also once it is getting tampered. Okay, nuclear power plant needs less space compared to any other power station of the same capacity. Same size means capacity, generation capacity. This type of power plant is very economical to produce large electric power at a lower uh, at lower cost of setup. Nuclear power plant, nuclear power plant very neat and clean as compared to the steam power plant. Why? Because in the combustion part there is no exhaust which is affecting the environment, provided you be very much careful so that the no radioactive element is discharged in the atmosphere. Okay, good technical knowledge is required to operate such plants, so salary, bill, and other maintenance costs will be higher compared to the other plants. So if you just looking at only at the generation capacity is not the thing. Actually you have to check how much cost you are uh, requiring to set up a plant, and then it's for its maintenance and all this. So in that sense it is charging more, so tariff will be also more. And there is a chance of spread of radioactive pollution from this type of plant, provided there is uh, any, I mean, what should I say,
Leakage.
if leakage there. So we have to be very careful about that. Then geothermal power plant, it is like we are using that hot water and from the geothermal energy of earth, and then again we just generate steam, and the rest of the part is same. So that's why I was spending more time on the steam power plant, I mean thermal power plant, where we generate the steam and through which we rotate turbine. Okay, so these are falling under the non-conventional power plant. And next, it is environment friendly, renewable, no fuel required, but it is location restricted. Everywhere you cannot set up a geothermal power plant. There should be required. I mean, where you can use that, where you can have that energy, that particular area you have to select, otherwise you cannot generate it. And it has some other environmental side effect. I just got it from book. I don't know what are the side effect. Don't know. I do not have much background about these things, all these non-conventional. So tidal power plant, here this is a tidal basin. Whenever there will be high tide, then that water will be rotating the turbine, and through that, this is the sluice gate with which you send it back to ocean again. And then within that there will be the with this turbine again, your alternator will be located, and with which you generate. But in case of tidal power plant, it is uh, it's less conventional, and very rarely we use it, and generation capacity is not much. So the advantage is energy is free, no fuel needed, no expense, not expensive to operate and maintain, and can produce a great deal of energy only during the tide time. Depends on the wave. Sometimes we'll get loads of energy and sometimes almost nothing. That is for sure, because ebb tide you will not get during ebb, low tide, and when high tide you will get lot of energy. Needs a suitable site where the waves are consistent, otherwise it is not possible. Environmental side effect, maybe some, maybe it is not friendly towards the marine life, so all those things are the disadvantage. Then the solar power plant, it is very popular nowadays. So what happened? You generate the DC energy from the photovoltaic array of the cell, and from there you accumulate it, and then charge a battery, and then you use the inverter, and then you send that inverter is actually changing from the DC to AC. So alternating current is then fed to grid substation. It's supplied to the grid, which I already discussed. So it is solar power plant, and what is the advantage? Completely renewable, so no cost. Solar cells, no noise at all. Maintenance is not much once you set up it. Panel seems quite expensive, but in long run, you will find yourself saving money, because there will be a long life cycle for the panel. Okay. Disadvantage is initial cost is more, and solar power cannot be harnessed on a cloudy day or at night. And also the I mean, when during daytime the angle of incidence will change. So based on that, your you generate more or less. So that is also a thing. Like if you can adjust the angle so that it is falling, the rays are falling perpendicularly, then that is better. Usually it is not done. We just keep the some 4 5 degree, so in that way we do it. And then this is also a well known wind power. So we use the power of wind. It should be near the sea area where there is more, it's more windy. And then through generator you charge a battery, and then you use the inverter. Actually power converter is basically changing. This is how your uh, it is a battery storage system. You generate, and then whenever you are generating, you are storing your battery, you are charging your battery, and then that is again passed to inverter to generate the AC power, and through transformer it is connected to grid. Okay, and this is for the monitoring purpose. That always in every station there will be a system control unit where you have to monitor it. That was missing in some uh, block diagrams kind of thing. So it is again a clean energy. It's a non-conventional source of energy. Doesn't produce carbon dioxide. Environment friendly. coexist with other land uses such as crops and all. You will find it is more common in abroad compared to here, but still in our country also now it is developing. And disadvantage, if you go to the towards Gujarat side and all, you will able to see it. Not suitable for some geographic region where you do not have the source of wind. So it is very rare that in our area, in maybe around our institute, you won't be able to see it much because it is not very convenient location. Initial construction is very high, and there'll be a it should be only in the countryside because it's a huge in size. So you have to accommodate it and all this, and it is there is always also we set up such kind of wind turbine in which will be on a buoy in the ocean, so that is also possible. So in that cases the construction thing is taking a lot of money. So install generation capacity sector wise. This is the central sector is this, state sector is this much, and then private sector. This is a power sector at a glance in all India basis. Okay, state is generating this, private sector is generating this. Like in West Bengal, we have private sector. Near Kolkata, there is a private sector which is Calcutta Electric Power Supply, but other it is a state board. So both are there, and then central is also there. So this is the situation actually. So you can see this is the share, the coal type fossil fuel where we use coal, it is 51%. So total is this, from nuclear it is this. So these are the situation actually. As I told that you can see that for the diesel it is very less, and then gas also it is very less. Okay, I think I have missed out the hydel part from here. So it is only for the fossil fuels. From coal, 51% we are using, and total from the fossil fuel it is around 60. Okay, and then hydro is around 12%, solar 12%. So this is the situation. And wind is also, as I told, wind, solar, it is in the developing area, so it is gradually rising. You see, wind is 10%. Okay. Okay, so largest power plant in India, thermal in Madhya Pradesh, and then hydro Uttarakhand because hilly, gas Uttarakhand, nuclear Tamil Nadu only we have, solar Rajasthan, wind also Rajasthan, Gujarat, Rajasthan. I told this side you'll be able to see more uh, wind power plant. Okay, this is all for today. So I'll be sharing this slide, and this is just like a background class for you, just to have a get a overview how the electrical energy is generated. So from the next class onwards, will not be discussing about this generation and all. We'll just go to the DC circuit. It is kind of revision class for you. So we'll start with that Kirchhoff current law, voltage law, and then nodal analysis, loop analysis, all those things, and for the DC network afterwards. Okay. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Sir, sir,
Yes.
all slides will be shared in the this only, na? Teams only.
I can share you. I don't know how to put it, because if I'm not logging out, there'll be in the classroom there'll be some folder where I'll create. I don't remember right now. I'll take a snapshot and send it to group so that you'll be able to find out where I'm uploading it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir, how to make a note, sir, from that slide?
This slide for you, just for your overview, so you can just have it, have an overview. You can go through if you are really interested to know much about. Are you from electrical department?
No, sir. No, sir.
Then if you are interested, I can send you some reading material, but no need to prepare note for this, and if you wish, you can just search in internet, you will get lot of support where these things are explained in different parts if you are really interested. So
Okay.
otherwise, if you just go through the slide, if you have the I mean broad steps of generation, then that is enough for you for this course.
Okay, sir.
Okay, it's just like an introductory session. Nothing much no need to spend much time on this part. Okay.
Sir, did you take attendance?
From the Monday class onwards, I will take attendance because many of you, I can see only 60 or 65 have joined. Some are yet to be joined, yet to join. So let them join from Monday. You just announce in group that from Monday onwards, I'll be taking classes, taking attendance. So they should get enrolled before that, before Monday.
Sir,
Okay.
some couldn't
Those-
join the MS Team platform, I guess. Can you share that MS Team platform on WhatsApp again?
MS Team only, na? I have shared the code with which you can join this class. So ask your friends to join with that particular code through MS Team. Like the way you have joined, same way you just tell them how to join. Okay.
Yes,
sir.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, then I'm closing today's session. Next class will be on Monday.
Thank you,